Hello, I'm Dr. Richard Graham, and I head research and development at Theravance Biopharma. Theravance's overarching purpose and goal as a biopharmaceutical company is focused on delivering medicines that can make a difference in people's lives. Today, I'm going to talk about a potential treatment to make a difference in the lives of patients with MSA and symptomatic neurogenic orthostatic hypotension. And that potential therapeutic agent is called ampreloxetine. I'm pleased to let you know that we've recently completed a phase 3 study in patients with MSA and symptomatic NOH, and ampreloxetine, a once daily tablet, has been shown to have a sustained effect on symptoms of symptomatic NOH in these patients. I'm going to spend some time going through the data today. MSA is a rare disease affecting about 50,000 Americans, including men and women of all racial groups. 70 to 90% of people with MSA have symptomatic NOH. In patients with NOH, blood pressure falls when upright, owing to impaired release of something called norepinephrine. And norepinephrine release, when impaired, can lead to symptoms that include dizziness. There's no currently approved therapy that's been shown to provide a sustained efficacy in mitigating these debilitating symptoms for the MSA patient with NOH. Both of the currently available therapeutic treatment options have complex dosing regimens with 3 times daily administration. They have shown limited durability of symptomatic treatment effect and contain black box warnings in their label for supine hypertension. With a unique mechanism of action, a once daily dosing regimen, and a durable symptom effect demonstrated in MSA patients in our phase 3 study 170, as well as no signal of supine hypertension in a safety database of greater than 800 patients and healthy subjects, ampreloxetine has the potential to markedly differentiate from other treatment options. On this slide, the top panel shows the situation when NOH is untreated at the cellular, the vascular, and the patient level. In the untreated MSA patient, norepinephrine available for action is impacted through uptake by the norepinephrine transporter. In patients with MSA, low norepinephrine leads to vasodilation, and that's associated with a decrease in blood pressure. This decrease in vascular tone can result in symptoms that are associated with tissue hypoperfusion. In contrast, the bottom panel shows what happens when the norepinephrine transporter action is blocked by ampreloxetine. Inhibition of this transporter leads to an increase in norepinephrine, thereby increasing blood pressure, increasing organ perfusion, and reducing symptoms in MSA patients with NOH. In April of this year, Theravance Biopharma announced results from a phase 3 study with ampreloxetine, which demonstrated a clear benefit in study patients with multiple system atrophy and symptomatic neurogenic orthostatic hypotension. Study 170 was a 22-week phase 3 study comprised of a 16-week open label period, followed by a 6-week double-blind placebo-controlled randomized withdrawal period. Patients entered the open label period of study 170 by either completing the 4-week efficacy study 169 or by entering the study de novo. After receiving 10 milligrams of ampreloxetine once daily for 16 weeks, patients then entered the 6-week randomized withdrawal period where they either remained on ampreloxetine or were randomized to placebo. At the end of the randomized withdrawal period, 31% of the study population was MSA patients. This slide shows the pre-specified subgroup analyses of patient-reported outcomes. On each of the 4 plots, the data points to the left of the vertical line favor ampreloxetine treatment, and data points to the right favor placebo. The top left panel shows the results for the primary endpoint of treatment failure, which was defined as worsening of both OHSA number 1. This is the question that asks patients, how often in the last week have you felt dizzy, lightheaded, or had the feeling that you're going to black out, as well as the patient global impression of severity. While there was a beneficial effect of ampreloxetine in the overall study population, this benefit was largely driven by MSA patients. The benefit to the MSA patients was observed in multiple endpoints, including the OHSA composite, as shown in the top right panel, OHSA item 1 on the bottom left panel, and the orthostatic hypotension daily activity scale on the bottom right. On this slide, the orthostatic hypotension questionnaire composite scores and individual item scores from the patients with MSA are shown. Starting on the top half of the slide, you can see that the symptom composite score was nominally statistically significant, with the upper bound of the 95% confidence interval to the left of 0. This effect on the OHSA composite was driven by all 6 items on the questionnaire favoring ampreloxetine. These include dizziness, vision, weakness, fatigue, trouble concentrating, and head and neck discomfort. Moving to the bottom half of the slide, the daily activities composite score favored ampreloxetine, and in this case, all but 1 item on the questionnaire favored ampreloxetine. The largest impact for the MSA patients was standing for a short time. As you're well aware, for someone with MSA suffering with symptomatic NOH, even standing for a short time can be an enormous impact on quality of life. The item that slightly favored placebo was walking for a long time, which isn't surprising considering that MSA is a disease with severely debilitating consequences. Finally, the last row of the table shows the OHQ composite score, which is the integrated results of the OHSA and the OHDAS. The OHQ composite score favored ampreloxetine treatment, and this effect was nominally statistically significant. Here I'm showing some additional data supporting the totality of evidence that ampreloxetine is effective in treating patients with MSA and symptomatic NOH. Starting with the figure on the left, treatment with ampreloxetine results in an increase in norepinephrine and an associated decrease in DHPG, the metabolite of norepinephrine. This magnitude of change in norepinephrine is consistent with a paper that we published based on our phase 2 results, and that was published in Clinical Autonomic Research, and is a level of change that has been associated with symptom improvement. Moving to the middle panel, continued treatment with ampreloxetine prevents a drop in blood pressure, as demonstrated in the randomized withdrawal period from study 170. Note that in the placebo group, blood pressure decreased by 12 millimeters of mercury relative to the baseline after ampreloxetine was withdrawn. As we previously reported, and consistent with an increase in norepinephrine and sustained blood pressure, ampreloxetine treatment prevented a worsening of symptoms as assessed by the OHSA composite score. In contrast, patients in the placebo group experienced a 1.54 worsening in the OHSA composite score on average. The impact of ampreloxetine on norepinephrine level, on blood pressure, and on symptom scores is considered to be clinically meaningful. The results I've presented today demonstrate a clear benefit to patients with MSA and symptomatic NOH. The safety profile of ampreloxetine has been assessed by more than 800 patients and healthy subjects, and in study 170, there was no indication of worsening of supine hypertension or emergence of any new safety signal. Importantly, ampreloxetine is a single tablet that's taken once daily, and unlike other agents, was effective at improving symptoms of NOH for a long period of time in our clinical trial. The company has met with the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, and we aligned on the path forward to filing a new drug application after completing one additional phase 3 study in MSA patients with symptomatic NOH. Patient advocacy was a key part of the meeting with the FDA and included a written perspective on the patient experience, as well as opening remarks from a patient caregiver and an MSA patient advocacy leader in the meeting with the FDA. We aim to start the new phase 3 study in the first quarter of 2023, and we plan to provide additional details as the protocol is finalized. Recently, Theravance Biopharma received a $25 million investment from Royalty Pharma, which is expected to cover the majority of the phase 3 costs. We very much look forward to our continued partnership with patient advocacy organizations, and we will keep the patient perspective at the forefront of clinical study designs, and we will also keep the community informed of our progress toward developing an important new medicine in ampreloxetine to make a difference in the lives of patients with MSA. Thank you very much.